Slater Crusaders, welcome back. I'm so fired up. I'm so glad you're here. We have so much to do, and this is all so important. So who is this guy? Who is this Qasem Soleimani? What has he done to Americans? Why did he deserve to die? I can save us a lot of time if you want the short answer. This is Senator Ben Sasse, who I like very much. He said, this is very simple. General Soleimani is dead because he was an evil bastard who murdered Americans. That's it. That's it. Lindsey Graham said, wow, the price of killing and injuring Americans has just gone up drastically. That's what we talked about a little bit in the last segment. He said Soleimani was one of the most ruthless and vicious members of the Ayatollah's regime. He had American blood on his hands. We could go on all day with these Republican statements. Let me just play this one. This is Steve Scalise.
President Trump took incredibly decisive action to take out the head of this major terrorist organization. IRGC has been a major terrorist organization. Soleimani himself responsible for the deaths of over 600 of our men and women in uniform. This guy's been one of the major terrorists, worst, most brutal terrorists in the world. This is on the same level of, you can go down the line, but al-Baghdadi, of course, the most recent. Even when you look at, where this ranks, this is right up there, as one of the major attacks, taking out one of the worst terrorists that has been a threat to the United States. Clearly, as the Pentagon has said, this was a defensive action because they were seeing other things getting ready to happen. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't just taking out somebody for what happened at the embassy, but it was also, he was probably getting ready to direct other attacks against.
And so that last part, I don't need that last part. Just to go back to the idea of like not believing our government, everything they say. I don't necessarily believe that he was planning more attacks. I do believe he was planning more attacks, but I don't think that's even necessary to use in an argument. I think what he's already done is enough to justify killing him. But I agree with everything else Steve Scalise said right there, except for one other point that we're going to get to in a little bit here. To compare this to bin Laden or Baghdadi in terms of this man's evilness and lives lost, people that he's killed, etc., that's fair, but it is fundamentally different because this guy had an official position in an actual government, right? Al-Baghdadi, head of ISIS, bin Laden, head of Al-Qaeda. Those weren't states. This is the Iranian government. It's essentially number 2 guy in the Iranian government. So that is a fundamental difference there that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But that's the Republican position. I agree with almost all of that. Then you get the hack statements like this. This is from Chris Murphy, senator from Connecticut. So this was New Year's Eve. He tweeted this out New Year's Eve. So this is after the attacks on our embassy. He said, Trump has rendered America impotent in the Middle East. No one fears us. No one listens to us. Americans have been reduced to huddling in safe rooms, hoping the bad guys will go away. What a disgrace. I agree with that. But then after we go and we kill this guy, did Trump assassinate the second most powerful person in Iran, knowingly setting off a potential massive regional war? So when Trump didn't respond, even though he did, right? But even when he didn't respond, we're weak and pathetic. And then Trump does respond, and Trump did an awful, terrible thing, right? So that's a hack move.